Here are 3 simple secrets that help me to accomplish my goals in entrepreneurship and in my personal life. If I were to go in the street right now and ask 100 people, do you want to become a millionaire? 100% of them would say yes. How many of them would actually become a millionaire would be substantially less than that. One can maybe even say it'll be point 0.3, point 0.1, something along those lines, whatever the statistics is for becoming a millionaire. Now, I want you to think, what is the difference between the people that want to become a millionaire and those that actually become a millionaire? Well, it's simple. It's the steps that they take. There's a big gap between what you want and then the work that you put in. And that gap is what determines the people that are experts and able to succeed at whatever it is that they want and those who don't. And it's as simple as that. When it comes to therapy, being a high performance coach, there's something that I tell all my clients. There's this one little secret. It's almost as if I'm a magician and I'm pulling the curtains back behind the screen. The only thing I'm trying to get you to do is take an action that you don't feel like doing. That is it. That's the whole purpose of being a therapist and a high performance coach. Think about this. If you felt like doing the thing that you needed to do or even wanted to do, you wouldn't be seeing me. If you felt that, let's say you had the confidence to take an action and let's say open up that business or start that podcast or do that YouTube video, you would have done it by now. But there's this feeling that you get when you think about doing it or even as you're approaching doing it. And that's what fears you. That's what scares you. So all I'm trying to do is give you the skills to accept whatever that feeling is and then to commit to the action that you know you should be taking. That's it. I know this seems like there's a lot of bells and whistles when it comes to seeing a therapist, being a high performance coach, but that's really it. Now, what happens between you wanting and you doing it? Well, that's where the mind gets in the way. And everything that we do is to help to remove that piece so that way you can start to become the real person that you want to be. Do the things that you know deep down in your heart you should be doing. And that's the whole difference between those that are successful and those who aren't. Those who are the doers of the world and those who are the dabblers. The dabblers, those are the people that stick their toe into the pool, but they don't get fully wet. The doers, they're the ones that do the cannonball and they jump in and they figure it out on their way in the pool or whatever the action is. So one thing that helps me is being able to know that there's a set of steps that I need to take. And I need to study those steps. Once I figure that part out, the outcomes, they start to kind of fall on their own. So one of the biggest keys is just knowing what specific actions I need to be taking. Don't worry about whether or not I want it. It's more so important, am I doing the actions? All right, number 2, this one, it really helps me to make sure that I take action and I do it easily. And this is one of the secrets in the book Atomic Habits. James Clear, he's a great author. He's written a lot of great stuff, not just in his books, but even in his blogs and his emails. He talks about how one of the habits that you should focus on should be making things easier in your life. For me, I have a really great system that I follow each and every week that ensures that I accomplish the actions that I need to take in my business, but also on my business and even in my personal life. So the way my day is set up is that I see clients Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And the thing about those days is I start at 10 a.m. What does that do for me? Well, when I wake up at 5 a.m., it gives me at least 5 hours of my day to put towards me, my mental health, my physical health, because I love going to the gym, but even working towards my business. By having this error-free, distraction-free time, it ensures that I can get all the things that are important to me done during that time frame. And if I don't complete it, I just put it off to the next day. For me and for you, I would ask us to ask ourselves, what are the biggest obstacles that's getting in the way of accomplishing a subset of actions? If you find yourself getting distracted with social media, I would tell you it's not only enough to turn off your phone, but put it in another room. You can also put it on Do Not Disturb. If you have a family like myself, maybe you should think about when is your family mostly like not going to need you, if you will. For me, that's early in the morning because everybody's asleep. That's when I need to prioritize the most important things. So what is the system that you have? I would ask you to think, well, what is the thing that it needs to accomplish the most? Maybe that's reading. Maybe there's certain knowledge that you need to garner. Well, find a time that's great for you to be reading. Maybe that's early in the day. Maybe that's later in the evening. If that's the case, let's implement that and put that in your calendar. If you need to reach out to prospects, I would ask you, when are your prospects typically home? And when can you set aside time in your schedule to reach out and make those cold calls? Let's put that on the calendar. When it comes to emails, because for me, I even turned off the notifications on my phone so that way only the most important notifications come through. And one of those things I had to take away was email, because I was looking at each and every email, trying to respond to each and every client that reached out to me. And those are just simply like speed bumps. If you're ever going through a parking lot or through an apartment complex, the speed bumps stop you from going at top speeds. Those notifications were my speed bumps, and I had to remove those. So I'd ask you, figure out what are your distractions? What are the things that are getting in your way? And let's see if we can start to remove those slowly, so that way you have this express lane to accomplishing actions. And this is the system that you need to figure out. So step number 2, figure out a system that makes things in your life easier to accomplish. How do you remove the obstacles and the distractions? You do that, you'll start to move at a faster pace. And number 3, you know I always leave the best for last. And this one, honestly, it's a secret, but I love sharing it. And you're going to be like, Coach, that's not really a secret. Yes, it is. And it's so simple that you may be overlooking it, which is why it's a secret to begin with. So secret number 3, don't jump ship on a system. Stick to it and watch it flourish. Watch it grow for you. The thing that I see a lot is a lot of people tend to get distracted. They get distracted with new techniques, new books, new strategies, all these things. They're shiny new objects designed to pull you away from the thing that's most important to you. And when that happens, you start to become what one person I know calls tactical hell. You're just switching from tactic to tactic to tactic, not knowing that what's more important is the strategy, because the strategy never changes. The tactics under the strategies, those change. But if we can find a strategy and stick to it, we'll be more likely to succeed. And that's the thing that separates the novice from the experts. Gary Vee, if you know who that is, he's a real great guy on social media. And he's probably one of the biggest influencers, if you will. And he's all talking about happiness, fulfillment, small business stuff, big business stuff as well. And his number one goal is to help you to unlock your true potential. That's his whole goal. And he does that through videos, podcasts, and things like that. One thing that he's famous for saying is that he can tell you exactly what he's going to do in the next 4 or 5 years and not be afraid, because you're not going to be consistent enough to do what it is that he's doing. Plus, Gary Vee, he has a really huge team, so it always seems like he's always working. You know, he could put 1 hour of time and it could probably accomplish a dozen things, right? Or maybe even more. So that's how Gary Vee does his stuff or whatever. The story is, or the most important thing I'm trying to say is this: when you become an expert, you only become an expert because you put in a subset of action or hours that allows you to learn the skill long enough to become an expert in that field. I love telling people the difference between a light bulb and a laser is one thing, and it's focus. That focus, it could cut through rock. You can see that focus from a mile away. So many different things versus a light bulb. So I want you to start asking yourself, am I jumping ship too early on the strategies that I've been learning? If so, you're going to feel like you're stuck. And all you have to do is just stick to it long enough to see it actually happen for you. That is it. So those are the 3 things that I do to help me accomplish my goals in my business, but also in my personal life. And I want you guys right now to like, comment, and subscribe to this podcast so that way you can get more information just like this. And if you decide to comment, I would challenge you to comment with a topic that you would love for me to speak about, so that way I can tailor this podcast specifically to what you want. All right, guys, I'll see you later.